thing that doesn't work, but just also then the whole idea is like, I was saying this, I think to you one time, Marlene, about, like even eating people's food, like you might eat somebody who just eat their food, but it just doesn't taste good, even though it's your favorite dish, because the kind of person and the energy they had who made that food, right? You may not feel good about that. I remember when that sounded like such a crazy idea to me, but now I see how true it is. It's just like, because everything picks up the vibration and frequency of the things around it, whether it's the people or the process or the environment where it's made, or
you make it with
or
love.
It can pick it up. It may not, but it can. Right.
Yep. So using love when you're cooking, and definitely you can tell if something's store-bought versus somebody who put love into it.
Absolutely, exactly. So I've done a lot of work with Indigenous people and stuff. So and in cultures like that, where to us, we think it's not very modern culture where the women are doing all the cooking and the men, but it's like, it makes sense. But the idea is like, the men help out when they can, but they usually have other tasks to do, but everybody helps out. And it's like, there's a joy, even if they're not just saying love, 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 love. They're like, they're happy. Like they understand that if you have to be happy while you're doing what you're doing. Like the people, I've worked with healers, shamans in Ecuador, and they always say, yeah, we never say we're tired, don't cry. Like it just attracts more, exactly what, you're talking about, it attracts more negative energies. They'll just call it negative energies or negative spirits. So, once you identify and get attached to the low frequency emotions or thoughts, then more start to come. So they don't say it that way, but that's their whole thing. And so, they're always cheerful. I mean, they laugh all the time. They are very loving and lighthearted, but very serious about, the world and themselves and, as spiritual beings and things like that. So anyway, it's very simple, but, here in our culture, we're just kind of cut off and a little mixed up, I think. But
yes, and that's
I do practice that myself. I sell naturally cultured sourdough bread, so I have customers, and I have found that I have people come back and ask for more when I try to always put the intention or a blessing on the bread. And I feel like that I get very good results. People will definitely say, oh, that was, so great. Or what about that other kind of bread that you're making? Because I make a couple of different things, and, I'd really like more of that, but I don't really ask them so much if they would like it, as I put it out there and I bless the bread that it would bless them. And then I find that it does come back in the form of them asking for more, or people that I would think would never buy it, then they'll come and ask, So it is interesting. But prior to that, there weren't a lot of people until I switched that mentality of putting it out there, sending it out with the bread, that it kind of bless people.
Oh,
I
wonderful.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what you're getting on the assembly line bread, is it? They
No.
go through the factory on the conveyor belt. There's probably people saying, "What time is my lunch? I should be on break right now."
Yeah.
Or, I hate this job. I hate this bread. Now you're eating it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That great observations. Yeah, totally. So anyway, so this is the, again, DNA activation, shooting dice swirl. So imagine you're sliding across the DNA strand, the 46 strands lined up. It's the hand open, palm up, kind of shake across the front of you. So the only other time that we use this is when we're clearing the timelines. So today, DNA and timelines, this is what it is. Kind of shooting dice in front of you kind of thing. So with the DNA, it's always best to go from right to left, imagining, or from whatever you're looking at. You're imagining going across the whole DNA strand, the 46 strands, and clearing off anything that is your intention. So kinesiology. So yeah, the 97% of your DNA is working for you, doing what it needs to do. You're feeling good. And 3% is the part that will transform to own all of our DNA. Quantum amp, the regular, you know, hand movement will clear DNA. You don't have to do the slide, but learn that because it's very powerful and very effective. That's when you're going through all 46 strands, healing it and sealing it, whatever. But this will remove the programs. Like, okay, I got 3 programs in DNA around, you know, back, whatever. Okay, so you can just, you know, blast off the dots and so forth, or you can just, you know, use your hand. But when you're going through it at the, you know, sending the gold energy, then that's the slide to heal it and seal it. So kinesiology. So the regular hand movement is used to move the DNA. You can clear the different things that interfere with accurate muscle testing. And then that's that chart that I was telling you about earlier. I can send that muscle testing chart so you can clear things that might be negatively affecting your testing. And so with the DNA activation process, we'll identify problems in the DNA. So there can be any kind of issue in the DNA because the information is gathered from the family and it's passed on. So a lot of health problems are passed on in the DNA. So is there, you know, I think we were going to ask, is there a DNA gene? And if you have one, so then you're just going to intend now that you're, you know, letting go of this DNA gene for cancer. And then just clear on it, clear on it, clear on it. You know, until you get to 100%. So that's the cancer gene, cancer, you know, program for cancer. So you can just clear it that way. And then you can also see then too, by the drop down with all the little dots, you know, anything, you blast them all off. And then at that point, then you slide through with the healing and the sealing on the strand itself.
So we never did complete that earlier when we were talking about my thing, that we ask if we have the gene for cancer, any kind of cancer, right? And then
Yes.
if you just clear it this way, that's all you're saying. You just
Yeah.
have to see it show up, and if there is one,
Yep,
you-
yep.
you-
And then until you get to 100%, yeah.
okay. So you pluck it off or remove it, or and then
Mhm.
repair or ask that anything, you know, that isn't the highest and best to come in, just the same way you would be healing up that DNA strand from any other back issue or anything else.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So you're intending that because really it's in your mind.
Yeah.
All right. It's not really a thing.
Yeah.
Cancer is, it's a fear tactic, really, is what it is. It's fear.
Yeah.
Something's not right, and fear will increase it, and it's a mutation from there, you know, just kind of like, oh, she believes in me. Oh, okay, well, we're real. Here we are. You know, she believes. Well, I don't believe. Okay, so DNA for cancer, I don't believe. I don't believe in it. So,
yeah.
Well, I don't have one, but I know I've cleared myself before. So, did I have one? Yes, because I've had cancer in 2 past lives. It's true. So I did, but I don't now. So, so doing the same thing for yourself, just continue to intend that you are letting that cancer gene, just letting it go. I don't believe in you. But the family may have, right? The family may have believed it because Uncle Bill or whoever had it, and now someone else in the family's got it. It's like, ooh, we could all get it, you know.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of cancer in my family. My mom died of cancer. My sister died of cancer. My other sister had cancer.
Yeah.
That's just in my family.
Oh,
So,
sure.
yeah.
So your DNA believes that it's a thing, that it's real,
Yeah,
because you
there's
see
a ton
it.
of- yeah. There's a ton of that and other dark energies in there. So yeah.
Yeah. Now, of course, it would manifest itself. Not saying that it's not real. Well, it will be real once it's manifested, you know. But as a thought form, it doesn't have to be real.
Yeah.
For
No,
you.
I catch you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a malignant fear, right? That's
Yeah.
That's
That
solidified.
causes the thing that you fear of happening. Yeah. What comes about, what you dwell on comes about, what you think about, you bring about. Yeah. What you think about, you bring about. And that can be for positive things too. So, right, what you think about, you bring that about. Yeah, same thing. Okay, owning your DNA, being able to own your hands, your muscles, your truth, getting accurate information 100% of the time. You must also clear your ability to own your body's information. So we're not doing, you're using the regular, yeah. So for the clearing to own your DNA, which I'll send to you, that's just a regular clearing, just like I charted it out. So you're just going to clear it regularly. All right, so we're just clearing to own your DNA. So the DNA is in stem cells. It's in all cells. So you have 2 authentic God strands, DNA strands, and they are perfect strands. Genetic programming may have created altered health, or if you have a diabetic program, or if there's cancer in your family, look at what is in the family and clear that. So it's in your DNA. If it's in your DNA, it's a DNA program. So, yep, that's where you're looking for it. 46 strands, we already mentioned that. Mother's side, father's side, 22. This is who's contributing to the information about who you are and how your body works, how you respond to things like health or bringing in wealth. So seriously, you can find out, are there programs about poverty? Do you have programs running in your DNA around poverty? You get a yes on that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that would be
For sure.
something to do too. So just, regular hand movement, and just intend that you're clearing DNA programming around poverty, and then bringing in the highest and best from God to take its place. And then go into the strand itself and send that beautiful gold God healing through the strand. You've plucked off the black spots. Now you're sending through the healing and the intention, beautiful intention of healing, and the sealing it up. So you're just kind of sealing up that strand so it's not going to seep out or whatever. You can also lengthen the telomeres on that strand while you're in there. Just kind of pull on them like ears. Yep. Yeah.
And then that's the DNA strand, that's in the master stem cell,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And now we have to spread that.
Yeah. Now you can mirror that one perfected cell there. Well, that's if you're in a physical issue, the master cell of the back, or the master cell of the wherever you're at, but if you're just doing one for poverty, that's just a program. So yeah, it's in the DNA. So you're just getting it out of the DNA.
Okay.
And then you can
see all of the DNA. Yeah.
Yeah. You can see the spots, blast them off, send down the healing, and then that's it. But you're not in your back or wherever.
Right. Okay.
Unless that's the reason that you had the slavery program was the reason you had the back pain. I mean, yeah, so we can.
So anytime we're looking into DNA for a generalized thing like a cancer gene or the poverty, issue or program, that's just something we're going to clear in that. Use the master cell as just a place to find the DNA strand. But once we just do that, we'll just assume it's going to share the information easily, effortlessly with all the other bits of DNA.
Yeah, and you can
do the mirroring.
Yeah, you can state that that the cells are matching the perfected version of the perfected master stem cell, taking on its beauty, love, and perfection. Yep, and then putting in your own completely and easily within 5 seconds, like Harold. Yes. Clear your own DNA and others. So if you've had a tissue or organ transplant or blood transfusion, then you have the DNA of the person whose organ or tissue you got it from. So then it's part of you. It's part of your DNA. So after you give birth, you don't keep your partner's DNA anymore in your body, but during the time that you're pregnant, you have someone else's DNA in your body. So what this really means is if you're testing for, is there a DNA program around this, and you get yes, then just say, okay, well, is there DNA of other? And if you get yes, just say, okay, is there a DNA program? Or if you already know you've had a blood transfusion, then you got DNA of other, you already know that. And then just say, well, are there programs of other that are running? So if you get yes, okay, you've got 2 of your own, maybe. Now you're asking the other DNA, is there programs running in there? How many? Another 2. Okay, so now you've got 4 programs to clear. So just know that. And then some people have not had a tissue transplant or an organ transplant, and I'm testing that they have DNA of other. So I told one woman that, who was pretty enlightened already, and she said, flu shot.
Mm-hmm.
She just got that hit, and she said flu shot. And I said, yeah, I'm getting that too. She goes, I don't get flu shots, but I've had one. It was a long time ago. And she figures that's where it was from, and I got that was where it was from. So if certain vaccines or shots you've had can certainly leave others' DNA. And I had another gal a couple weeks ago that had, well, those, what the heck are those, polio or whatever, they leave a big circle like that on your arm, on your, maybe you're not, whoever is old enough to remember to know this. She said, and she is like in her late 40s, she said that thing is always like raw, and it's been that way forever. So why for 30 some years has this thing been, not healed? Right? So there had to be something in there that wasn't.
So was she able to heal that then?
Yeah. We were working on that. What in the world was that? Dark energies, of course, but that's where we checked for anchors. There was an anchor in there, like a embedding or something, or so we worked in the spiritual parasite, the entity, the anchors for entities.
Okay.
But we also worked in the dark energies themselves too, and that's usually when something won't heal like that. It's usually an entity. It could be because they can go in and slow places up from healing at all, or completely stop things from healing. I think that's the chameleon reptoid entity or something on the chart. They're certainly known for that. And then running the demonic energy, people running that demonic energy. Yeah, so go through, I would say, like dark energies, the entities, and then go through the amplification chart. Is there a curse, right? And I got that, yes, there was a curse for her running there. And soul contract stuff that was from, up to maybe 100 different lifetimes ago, where you've made an agreement with the darkness somewhere. And that gave the darkness certain abilities to have control over your life or your health or something, any part of your well-being, right? So all the different things, there could be hundreds, thousands, millions. There's actually millions of soul contracts that could turn up for if you're asking and saying, well, what's causing this? What could be blocking health in this area? Could be that she gave up control of her body or her health in another lifetime. So, but yeah, there should definitely be others' DNA in shots, and for gosh sakes, flu shots, and they're giving people shots for, shingles, all kinds of stuff, right? And it certainly can be made up of other people's biology. This is why I don't like getting that kind of stuff, because I don't know what's in it, besides metals and mercury and who knows what, other people's DNA. And what is that causing you now, right? So maybe you didn't have a criminal gene before. Now you got somebody's DNA that has a criminal gene, and now you feel like stealing stuff. where'd that come from, right? That can certainly be, oh, I had a flu shot. Now you're a thief. Oh gosh. It happens. It really does. So DNA, you know what, you can read this if you want. It's on your DNA activation text document. But DNA, okay, so DNA is liquid. So it's easy to manipulate. So this was interesting when I discovered that. So we can pull out this strand, imagine it to be like darkened boxes on the DNA strand. We can observe and take out the dark spots. Yes. So yeah, so it's easy to manipulate. So seeing that strand, you can almost see it like a liquid strand. So you're just sending like golden liquid light down this golden liquid strand of DNA, right? And so easily pliable enough to get those black spots off it. And so that's good for us. So our job could be easier.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to take that long. Like the clearing chart seems to be the thing that takes the longest time.
Yeah.
But doing the DNA process, it seems to be like not a lot of resistance there.
Yeah. When I first started this, I remember thinking, oh, it should take longer. Am I not doing it right? Why, you know, how come everyone else is still doing it? I don't know. Am I, you know, missing something? I'm getting it's cleared. What are these guys doing? So I didn't know. But yeah, it seemed to me, it's like, it went so easy. And that's probably why. Yeah. You got the same observation then too, huh? Tracy? Yeah.
Yeah. It seems easy in the sense that it just seems to respond right away, right, to what you're doing. And it doesn't, sometimes other things seem like, is anything happening? And, you know, how long do I have to wait? And
yeah. What am I doing this for? It's already been an hour. Is it done yet?
Yeah. This will just take a few minutes, really, even shorter, it seems, but
yeah. So make it a part of every clearing for sure, because it does go quick. It's not like bloodline. So DNA exists in your divine human template. It's in your spiritual body. It's in your essence, in your physical body, which is matter, and then in your energetic body. So it's in all those areas. It's part of the quantum field. It's made up of particles vibrating, you know, which everything pretty much is. But the first thing is to let go of programs interfering with your ability to control, own, and transform your own DNA. And so that's the PDF. I'll send that out to you so you can do the clearing around that. But yeah, so soul contracts, just like what I mentioned, right? So there's up to 100 lifetimes can be attributable to agreements you made with the dark side somewhere for something. And then all things in the realm of amplification, that curses, you know, chart, whatever, in perception for sure. Because, you know, most things are what we perceive them to be, and certainly emotions. And then, well, DNA, yeah. So DNA programs around not being able to own your own DNA. There you go. And then bloodline. But there's a little bit more on that chart, so I'll send it to you. So clear for your own DNA ownership. And then the next step will be removing the DNA program. So doing this PDF I'm going to send you, that's just a one-time thing, just to clear everything up. And then you can go ahead and do the programs. So the right permission and ability to alter faulty DNA programs is, I guess, what it's called. So, well, here it is. I guess I don't need to send it to you. So it's also on, yeah, it's on the DNA activation text Word doc. I guess number 21. I guess I got them according to the slide number here. So that's slide 21. So to own, alter, and faulty DNA programs, letting go of domination, suppression, and control. So yeah, we've got it all specified on this doc here too. So you'll have that already. That's good. All right. And then so, DNA, go ahead, Tracy.
Well, I'm always having a question because I seem to be doubting myself. So like about how long that chart right there that we're looking at might take to clear. I know each one would be different and unique to each person, but And I get that you might say we could muscle test to see how long it will take, right?
Yeah,
Is
maybe
is
half
that
hour.
what a half hour?
Mm,
Okay. Just to give an idea, that helps me, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it should be about half an hour. Yep. And then at the end, oh, here's another one, genies. We didn't put that on the parasites entities chart. I'm going to put this in the chat box here. So you've got, add that one then too, to, that's not on the chart. Okay, so then at the bottom here, we have DNA of DNA of others. Then, so check, where do we have DNA of self? No, I don't see DNA of self on. Oh, no, that's just splicing. It's DNA splicing. That's how an entity can come and attach to you by splicing into your DNA. That's that. But you want to say DNA of you, and then DNA of others, and then going through and doing the reset, meaning that this is the active and current upon awakening. This is the active and current version, and will stay the active and current version from here on out. So then removing DNA programs for low function. Identify the problem program. And then you're intending to clear it, doing the shooting dice, and then test for complete removal, or, you know, if you let go of that program, and then mirror. So you're intending to the other cells. So just kind of recapping it again there, I guess. So DNA activity for activation for vitality. So here's one, or several of them that you can do. Clearing DNA issues, interfering with a vibrant, healthy life. So testing for how many programs around that. Sleep, 100% great sleep. Getting adrenal restoration to 100%. When we do the glands starting tomorrow. Or actually, I think we're doing organs tomorrow. Pineal gland to 100% energy, getting your 100% of your energy, your life force, you could say. Thyroid gland. So going through your DNA then and looking for issues in DNA for not being optimal up to 100%.
So then you would take each one of those, say, for example, adrenal restoration to 100%. You go through the chart and that should take you about a half an hour. Is that what you're saying?
Well, this is basically saying just checking for the programs that would be preventing you from 100% adrenals. So are there, you know, for you, Carrie? Yeah, there's a couple programs there. So you're just going to say, okay, I got 2. So now I'm going to clear these 2 programs. I'm going to see them, identify them as black spots, you know, blast them off.
Yep.
You know, blah, blah. So that's what we're really doing here. This is part of what I do before I do the regeneration. And as you'll see, like tomorrow, when we go through the steps of regeneration, it'll say, okay, now do DNA. Let's check for DNA programs.
Okay.
So that's really
Okay.
essentially what this is. So we're inserting this into the whole picture when we get to an organ, you know, when we get to, you know, the kidneys or whatever it is, we're going to do this, but it's saying here, you could actually go through different areas and just identify what's in my DNA. Is there this? Is there criminal? Is there, you know, poverty? Is there, you know, was I an arsonist? Was there, you know, what's, you know, or if there's things that you can't identify, why do you keep doing this thing, whatever it is? Well, maybe, is there OCD, compulsion, that kind of stuff? Is there stress? You know, is there am I being programmed to have high stress and anxiety, or programming for depression? So you can take the big heavy hitters and just kind of go through them and just seeing, is there programs for them? And then just clearing those programs. You're going to be helping your health, whether you do regeneration of them or not, just by doing that, you know. Because if you get rid of anxiety programs, well, then your adrenals, oh my gosh, I'm not so adrenally fatigued anymore, you know. Although you're gonna, but then you're gonna want to do charting out, you know, all the other stuff, because yours certainly could be bloodline and whatever else too. Doing that, doing the DNA, maybe checking a timeline issue. Is there maybe you were real hyper stressed out in another lifetime, and that's contributing to adrenals. And then you can do the regeneration after you get all the stuff worked out. So, but that's something you can do.
Do you find a DNA program for laziness?
Sure.
I didn't know if you've ever seen that. My son's side of the family is kind of his family side.
Uh-huh.
I've just like, I wonder if that's an actual DNA thing.
Yes. Yes. It
Okay.
is. Lack of motivation. Yep.
Okay.
And so maybe we were, maybe certain people were programmed. It's like we were programmed to be less than. So whatever that could be,
Right.
could
Show
maybe
up. Yeah.
it could show up here. Yep.
Okay.
Underachieving or
Yeah.
even low physical vitality can be part of that. I'm just,
Yes.
every time we say something, my mind's sort of expanding, trying to see. Because even if, let's say we're doing this for clients, but they're not going through whatever the larger process might be, let's say regeneration, you could do some clearing of at this level, and they would also feel the benefit, right? So this wouldn't be as
Yeah.
time consuming as putting together a whole chart and doing regeneration if they don't want to do that, right?
Yes, you can stop short of regeneration just by getting the gland or organ up to 100%. So you're just sending in beautiful healing energy to that gland or organ till you get to 100%. You could just stop short and just do that. And then checking their DNA programs.
And they'll feel better probably from that.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. People are feeling a lot better without actually having to do regeneration. And sometimes you ask, does it require regeneration? Nope. Then you don't need to, it's saying no. So maybe that's all it needed, was just to get out the stuff out of that cell, out of the cells, in that organ. And now it's boom, working fine again, So yeah, that's part of it. So is your DNA programming your glands? Is it programming your adrenals to run at 100% or at 50%? Right. So if you do have adrenal fatigue, there are programs running in the DNA telling the adrenals not to improve. So if your thyroid gland is at 50% function right now, that's what you read it to be. That's 50% information coming from the DNA. Yeah, so 50%. So yeah, that 50% is saying, you'll run at 50% only, so immune system 40, thymus 30, whatever it happens to be. You've got programming around that. Otherwise, how come you shot so darn low? Well, of course, obviously there's issues, emotional problems, and, that finally turns into a physical problem. Yeah, we know that. But why did you have those emotions? Why were you set up with those issues in the first place? Well, maybe it is the DNA, you're coding, saying, well, you're only going to go with half a thyroid percentage. Yeah. Okay, so then light of cell. So we clear and rearrange the particles with our hands, which is elevated in the pleasure field. So this movement allows everyone to go up to a higher vibration. Okay, so you're going across a strand that's opened up and spread out, and you're clearing off that strand. So you work with one DNA strand, and then that DNA strand is going to inform all the other DNA strands in the body. So that's the master cell in that DNA. So we're working with the light of the cell once that strand has been shifted. So we've let go of the faulty program, so it would disappear the problem energy. And then we'll be mirroring that cell, and the new DNA information will be mirrored to all the other cells. So it'll start a shift. It feels like shifting to the body. And as the body shifts up, and the DNA improves. So once it's cleared, it is permanent. So this is a permanent process. It won't go back. Well, it will, unless you remember to do resets, I guess. That's kind of the thing too, is remembering to tell the body that this is a permanent, you're not going to go, this is the new version and your highest and best from God. And it will not reset upon awakening. So I am in charge. This is a great opportunity to make things better. We came in with a lot of negative programming, and it's exciting to get freedom, to feel like I'm in charge of myself. So we're clearing so that you can be in charge of your DNA. And you have that kind of power to make that choice and then clear yourself and live in freedom. So that's pretty exciting. So it is. So before, we didn't know. Nobody told us, right? And it's making it abundantly clear that they don't want us to know, because they're, whoever's put all this stuff in there in the first place, some dark agenda, they want to control humanity, right? So that was how they did it. They programmed humanity. But the part is now is that our frequency has gone up so much that now this information is coming to us. And although a lot of people don't really work in DNA, I don't know of a lot of people that do. Might not be a lot. So I mean, that could even be a specialty for somebody too, is to let go of DNA programs. A lot of people work in subconscious programming, like the subconscious mind. And in a sense, that could be similar to these types of programs. They just don't know, that DNA plays a part, not just the mind, not just your head and your brain, but people will resonate to the conscious mind versus the subconscious mind. They will get that more. So I think that it becomes more popular with the mainstream when you're saying, oh, we're going to work in your subconscious and, let go of limiting beliefs. Oh, I get that. I'm all open to, okay. So now all these, programs in your DNA that are running your coding, what? I never heard of that, so there's the resistance maybe there. So maybe it's just coming at it around the idea of limiting beliefs or limiting abilities, change the programming. You don't have to say in your DNA, but you could just say, let go of limiting programming. Yeah, I'd like to do that. Sure. So that might be something that people would understand, I guess, a little bit better. So, but once you know that you have the power to not be limited in all these areas, and I'm going to tell you what, it works. It absolutely 100% does work. Oh, thank you. Because there's a lot of areas that opened up for me, for example, that I know personally. I had issues around lack of abundance. My family, in Minnesota, my father was the oldest of 8, and they lived on a farm. So they're farmers. So what does that mean? There's lack built in there right away, right? So some years you ate real slim because you didn't have a good crop or whatever it was, or, so there was always that underlying thing of lack or limitation, certainly poverty or whatever. So I had to clear that for myself big time, because that was in my DNA, right? And then not knowing really my mom's history because she was adopted. So that's another thing, is you're not really knowing much about that family, because what family, so a lot of things I found out about that lineage, and just shocking things, really. I thought to myself that I was able to clear in my own DNA, and I don't do that stuff anymore. It doesn't occur for me. So this really does. It's empowering. So you are in charge, and you can liberate yourself, free up all those limiting thoughts going through your head all the time. Okay, so you can test and see if pain is programmed into your DNA. So this is interesting. Yeah, somebody maybe fibromyalgia. See if it was programmed. You might test if it were emotional pain, if it's in your DNA. So emotions, maybe somebody's always in sorrow or something like that for an inordinate amount of time. You can check for programming. So we live in an era where the dominating, controlling information from Western medicine is something that is a fact. But is it really? You can be in charge. So you can own your DNA, your body, and your own regenerative qualities. So DNA splicing. Okay, so this is a problem that spiritual interferences do with our DNA. So human DNA lasts for thousands of years. It can get passed on from generation to generation. So the information can be stored in the DNA. And scientists are looking at splicing into yours to store information about you. Scary, right? Yeah, so we can clear viruses from blood with clearing our DNA. So test, is there a program for HIV in your DNA? Because, somebody put those 3% of programs in there. So maybe they continue to update. Who knows what they're doing, updating our operating system. But that's why I think, being 100% in control of my own DNA. So maybe that's, if it wasn't in that chart intention, maybe that's what we need to add, is that nobody else is in charge of our DNA. Did we have that? Right, permission and ability to own and alter faulty DNA programs. How would you put that?
Wouldn't letting go of domination, suppression, and control, which is at the end, would that sort of cover that? Or
yeah, I was kind of looking at that going, how do we say? Yeah, it really kind of is. Yes.
But maybe just more to affirm the full embodiment and ownership.
Yeah,
sovereignty is always a good word.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, as the only being, I guess, as the only energy. Let's just say as the only energy able to own and be the only energy able to alter faulty DNA programs, the only energy able to alter my any of my own faulty DNA programs. Something like that, I guess. I don't know. Play with it yourself and see what you think. But yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So once we know that, so there, so is there a program for HIV in your DNA? Were you genetically programmed with your DNA to have a dysfunction in the body or brain that's part of genetics? Remove the cancer gene from your body. You can remove the breast cancer DNA and cancer DNA. So that's another one, breast cancer, colon cancer, whatever, you can check to see. But so that's interesting to see if there's viruses. But I do that, so that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, but it can be, you can get really involved with checking this stuff. Yeah. So 3% of DNA is faulty. We've already mentioned that. It doesn't take out the old programs, but it raises the frequency to God DNA, which is more available to create as you want. The process, okay, I think we've done that. Just know that you have the gift now, right? You're learning how to shift the field and the perception, essence, matter, energy, fields of genesis, embodiment, quantum, and amplification. And given those kinds of gifts, you can do anything. Okay, so these work in all the realms that that we have, right? So the mindset that we have to struggle, who told us that, right? And other challenges But what if you had somebody to guide you through those challenges? And what if you had someone to lighten those challenges so they weren't so difficult? So we can learn not just from struggle, but from observation now. We don't have to be the ones that suffer. You know, there's no lessons to be learned from suffering. I mean, you can observe, right? That's what this observation's about. Now, we don't have to come redo another lifetime just to go through and learn about suffering. As a matter of fact, lessons, that's a thought form. That's a belief too, that we're here to learn lessons. There's not such a thing as learning. I mean, that's made up. We are here to experience the experience of our experiences, our life. That's it. That's all we're here for. That's our purpose. We have many purposes. And not a single one of them says, okay, now you're here, you're supposed to suffer. And what's your lesson? Did you learn your lesson? Nope. The soul, you know, can elevate by, like from observation now, right? And choosing to a feel. So like somebody who's disabled, for example, you don't have to come back as a disabled person to learn your lesson about it. You can then just learn from that person. You can just observe them and get, you know, informative hits around it or whatever, but you don't have to come back and learn your lesson. So the DNA attunement, so what were we going to do with that? Well, I guess that would be, that's going to be more around this. Okay, so the meditation. So ground, clear, and release. Sit in the center of your head. And then you can imagine a DNA strand made up of white boxes with lit up borders around each box. So imagine all failed DNA in the area that you're working in to show up as a darkened box. And you can fix by seeing your spiritual pressure washer just blast off all the dust, the density and darkness from each of the black boxes. And then imagining replacing instead inserting into that area on the DNA strand with golden light and new, loving, perfect, beautiful elements. So that would be, you know, elements of health instead of sickness and, you know, that kind of thing. So, and then you lengthen the telomeres on the tips of the DNA strand. And then you mirror that now to all DNA since you had it upgraded. Yep, so then identifying the DNA issue to be cleared, identifying the approximate time that it's going to take to clear it. And you're doing the shooting golden God energy, and then imagining new or a fresh component or an element now that's the highest and best from God. And then, so replace the removed items with new, better material. So insert what it is that you'd prefer, and then muscle test for completion. So you can do one for each: love, health, and money. So identifying an issue around health, identifying an issue around love, one around money, and checking, identifying programs. And then more activations. Okay, DNA activation on yourself and others' DNA if it's in you. So you can check around can't earn income, or, you know, sustain a savings or grow your investments. Struggles with debt and financial obligations. Immune system strength, hair and balding patterns. That has to be programming. As you notice that not all the hair falls out of guys' heads, right? They've got plenty of hair around the back and stuff like. And even I noticed that, like the hair that comes back here, this is my original color. We don't ever touch it, but it's all original and it's not gray, I'll tell you. But yeah, so it's like this, there's no program obviously for the back of the head, but there's got to be something for, you know, the male pattern balding areas or whatever. Nervous system problems, love and relationship at survival levels. Like you're still in, you know, in level 1 of relating on a survival basis, you know, on root chakra level. or attracting an abusive partner. So do you have the victim or victimizer program in your DNA? So these are all great right now to just do these for yourself so that you don't have to continue operating under these programs. So once the DNA is shifted, you can add on additional clearings doing the same thing. So right permission and ability to clear all related programming and interference related to faulty DNA. Now, is this, I don't know if that's the same as the one we had, or no, not that one.
It's a different statement, right? But
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because I was just looking. Yeah, that's not the same. No. Okay.
it doesn't look the same in terms of all the
Yeah.
starting at the end there, because there's no nanotechnology on the other one.
Oh, okay.
I don't think.
Looks like for praying mantis, you could have auditory scions too. So that could be something you could add to your chart.
Okay.
That wasn't on there. Okay, so then all of these things, and then I mean, look, these are all emotions around this too. So yeah, okay, so the message of your DNA, the code or message in the DNA God, or the God code DNA book in the ancient language decoded Arabic, it says, "Greetings from Yahweh, you have found the secret of creation. Now share it peacefully." And that message is actually already in the DNA. And I just got goosebumps when I read that. As we move into this higher vibrational frequency, our DNA, which has been marinating in lower vibrations, is now able to shift up and move up vibrationally. So as we raise our thoughts and frequency with both inner and outer actions, we shift up to the 5th dimension. So you could use your left hand opposite the dominant right hand, rocking in upward and palm facing inward, rocking in upward and palm in upward, I guess, up 5D uplift. Okay, this has been a long while since I've put this on here, I guess. I guess I don't even use it. I don't know if you need to do that, but you can try it. So up leveling to the 5th dimension, because we're up leveling the DNA to God DNA. What this process is the bringing it up to a higher dimension, so the 5th dimension. But with quantum entanglement, so that's what we do to affect change for another person or a client or whatever. We can bring up other person's 5th dimension, or bring up their frequency into the 5th dimensional level. So
is there any thought, or I haven't heard anything about what frequency starts to, indicate 5th dimensional living, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that like 350, 400?
Yeah, it's got to be at least that, I would say, huh?
Oh, because I was wondering if it was just higher than all that, but it's just still not even approaching the love frequency.
I think it's more around love, 500-ish.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm thinking it is. I think it's closer to love or above, like the 500.
Okay.
But even past that, because I think once we get up to 500, then we're in the right direction. But to be a healer, like to be effective, most effective, it's around 700 and above. So maybe it's closer to, somewhere in between. And then the next process is to bring more of your frequency of your DNA into God DNA, into a higher frequency where you're more in charge of it. So this is the God DNA activation, the ability to have and enjoy God DNA, balancing with what my body can handle and up leveling as the body shifts up. So that's what we're pretty much doing right now, but this is going to, let go of anything that is in the way of that, right? So all this stuff can be in the way. Here's dark energies that would prevent us from getting God DNA. Curses, yeah.
So we may start doing all of these clearings, for instance. We can just work through them at our own pace. And
yeah,
but since a lot of these will be on the previous clearings, you're saying, I think you said before, they should go very quickly once you've cleared them previously. If you're still, we're doing it close to the same time, right? Like,
yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because they're around the same topic, sort of, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you might find that some things can be clearing pretty smoothly once you've cleared it in other areas. Yeah. Good question. So start feeling it. If you feel more, some lightness in your chest, in your arm, the DNA is starting to wake up and shift. There's a lightening happening. When the DNA is shifting up, it starts in the middle of your chest, around your heart, and it'll move out into your arms. Then it'll move up and down. So it may automatically start going up, and that's why you would feel that movement in the chest or the tingly feeling all over your body. So the next actual process is to move up into God DNA. So by doing that clearing there, that's with the intention there. So God DNA isn't one that resolves to get to zero. You don't clear it until, okay, I'm got down to zero, I must have it. It happens over a year or two, but this is old. This is kind of written old, I think. So I think you can do it much sooner than that. And if you do a Rilds method, it's completely and easily within 5 seconds. Happens over 5 seconds. So, but you can, be using the hand movement, reaching the quantum field when you have a free moment for God DNA activations, and just keep working on bringing and lifting up that God DNA. So check if everybody went to the 5th dimension in their DNA, so you can check other people. Addictive patterns can be cleared. So clear them from the DNA, but also from all the other programs too. You're going to check what else could be causing addictions. That's just for an example, but yeah. Telomeres. Okay, so to rebuild telomeres, intend to see the telomeres improve. So you're, using the basic hand movement here with the intention that you are improving the length of the telomeres in all of the DNA. But I actually kind of just do that, lengthening process. So I'm seeing the telomeres actually lengthen. I'm actually assisting them to lengthen. To grow younger, the telomeres have to grow back to their full expression. So aging, the skin, the organs, and the cells are highly reflected by damaged or shrunken telomeres. So really, telomeres are key to reversing aging. So I built that into an anti-aging program that I did. I was on a show in July and I did this anti-aging, and I added telomere lengthening into that program, or into that package that they got. So, so yeah, and telomeres are kind of a hot keyword phrase now because people are finding out about that. Like, oh, how can I improve the length of my telomeres? Well, there's vitamins now for that and stuff too. So there's everyone coming up with an answer for what that could be for them. But so that's essentially it for DNA. There's, it might sound like a lot, but it's more around the possibilities and the opportunities for us to utilize it for ourselves, our families, and, clients and so forth. So yeah, so that would be my suggestion, is to go through and do all the clearings on the documents, as much as you can. Obviously, overnight, you're probably not going to get to everything, but maybe over the next week until we meet again, seeing how much you can accomplish and get done of all the clearings here. So this is going to, and then observe any changes, anything that, and so too, some of that type of change might be more, hey, I'm not doing this anymore, and that might come in a month or two. So, that realization or observation that I'm just not acting like that anymore. So that can certainly be something that you've done with DNA, but maybe it was a couple months ago, and now you're just realizing that's a shift or a change for you, but you didn't get it until now, right? So, I mean, things can happen over a year that can be benefits from what you did. Or
Okay.
their clients too. They might not right away recognize the changes from DNA, but they will, it will definitely be something that they don't do anymore. They're not going to, so how are you going to say, well, you won't have cancer? I don't know how you can say that. And I wouldn't guarantee anybody anything. So just be careful with that, the way you phrase things. But you can say that that you can let go of the cancer gene for them, assist them to let go of the cancer gene.
So
That's-
I have a question that's not related to that.
Yeah.
So in regards to my husband, you had mentioned that his higher self wants to heal, but like his belief structures are resistant. Do I have permission to work on him? Like,
I have
does he
permission
have to
from
give
my
me
husband,
permission?
but that's because he told me, yeah, whatever, you don't have to ask me anymore, so okay, that means I have permission to do anything I want. But yeah, so you might want to ask him to say, hey, I notice something, kind of funny energy in your it might be in your programming of DNA or whatever. Is there something that I can clear for you? Is that okay? And just get a yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, even though we're married, yeah, it just depends on how much they get it or whatever. And you can certainly do your children,
Well,
so
that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. Can I do my children?
well,
Wait,
18 and under, really. Adults, they have their own
yeah.
thing. But you can clear bloodline for yourself, and that's going to clear your children.
Yep.
Yeah. So that you don't have
I mean,
any permission there. So I think muscle test. Do you get a yes from your husband's high self? If he won't be open to exploring it because he doesn't get it or he doesn't know anything about it, potentially some people may be leery about saying, yeah, go ahead, when they don't know what you're talking about. But so I'm getting, yeah, if for a spouse, you can ask their higher self, is this something that that he's okay with? And I get yes, but you can ask yourself.
okay. Yeah. It's just, it's like a hairy subject. So
Yeah. But for a client, someone you don't know,
yeah, you can't.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't really. You can just say, hey, I found a couple of this. So you want to clear this now? Yep. Okay, good. So that's all. You just
Yep.
word
Okay.
it that way. But yeah, certainly children under 18. Oh yeah, all day long, whatever. Yeah. Whatever you're
Okay.
finding in yourselves, you might clear them too.
At the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So that's what I would recommend. Okay, so I guess we are at the top of the hour. That's what we're covering today. And if that wasn't enough, I've got more for you. You need something more to do? So no, I'm just kidding. That's plenty of stuff to clear. But tomorrow we're going to start at the same time. And we're going to go into the physical. So we're going to go into organs tomorrow. Learn how to clear them and do regeneration on organs. Yes, so we're going to play God. The God DNA, we're going to work in, but no, we're not playing God. We are actually a spark. We are a God spark. And so that spark of God is in us. And so we have the same abilities as God, right? So we are an expression of God. And because of that, we can do godly things, just like they were saying in the Bible. It was, Jesus said something about this and all other things you can do the same or better. I don't know. Don't quote me. I'm sure that's not what he said. But somebody who knows the Bible verse better than I. And that's what he meant. Really, that is what he meant by that, is you can do this too, right? We just haven't been taught how. Nobody's teaching our children in school anything about this, if they did, we'd all be healthy. We wouldn't need, cancer treatment centers that are popping up all over the place. We wouldn't need all this stuff that's money making, for some corporations. We just
Memory care centers now.
Oh my
That's
goodness, the memory care. Oh my gosh. And just clearing, when my parents were in this, we put them in a group home, not a regular, facility. So there was only maybe like 5 people living. It was a regular house, and my parents had the master bedroom, both of them. So, and it was nice in that I could then clear the place often, all that energies and stuff in there, all these other people, but I could clear them and I could clear the property more often with a smaller thing. But you could tell the difference once you cleared their attachments that are affecting their mind. And my dad had Alzheimer's, my mother dementia. So definitely check for Alzheimer's genes, dementia genes, those kind of things, because that's what all this memory center stuff is popping up around, right? So who put the dementia gene in us? Who put the Alzheimer's gene in us so that they could alter people's? Now, if you're not playing with a full mind, how are you going to be effective and powerful and affect change for other people? You can't, right? So it's a disempowering programming inserted into people and in their DNA to keep them small, keep them in control. Right. So this, now that we know, we don't have to be disgruntled or anything about it. But now that we know, we can play on the same playing field and do what Jesus said, you can do this and more, and he was saying that from, 2000 years ago. And why they call it God conscious, or no, 1,000, like Christ consciousness, they call 1,000 Christ consciousness. Well, maybe he had a frequency of 1,000, 2,000 years ago. And maybe that's, anybody like that could do healing and all the different things that he was doing. Plus his perception was spot on, where he knew he could walk on water, and he did, right? So if you can do stuff like that, you can do it. And so that's where he was saying, I got this information. If you have the information, you can do this too. So that's what we're doing. We finally have figured out, how these things work and how we work and what's there that needs to be let go. So really, we're just letting go of the stuff that doesn't belong, because God already created this perfect specimen of me or you and, Carrie and Sylvia and Jessica and Tracy, right? So we were created 100% in God's image, perfect, healthy, no programming, faulty programs, nothing like that, right? So that's all we're getting back to. We're just letting go of all the stuff. What could possibly be blocking that? Well, that's what we're finding out. And we're just plucking them out as we find it, letting it go, letting it go, letting it go. And then, putting in the beautiful elements that we want, the health and the well-being and the wealth and the whatever, beautiful relationships and stuff like that. So that's all we're doing, is we're taking what we have, letting go of the stuff that doesn't belong in there, that shouldn't have been put in there in the first place. Now, once we let that go, the body knows exactly what to do. The energy rises, we expand, frequency goes up. And that's the thing. So we're able to raise other people's frequencies as we go through the clearing. So the longer somebody works with us, doing sessions with us and so forth, they then find themselves frequencies going higher and higher and getting expanded and so forth. And that's the raising of the consciousness, right? That's the expanding of the consciousness, and where we want to be on this planet, right? So where the Earth is going, Earth knows what she's doing. She's like, I'm going with or without you, come along for the ride. But it would be a lot nicer if we could just, let go of some of the baggage that's holding us down, right? So we're just baggage removers. Sorry. Yep. I remove baggage. Yeah.
Well,
for tonight, go ahead.
A last request. Oh, sorry, Sylvia. Go ahead.
Oh, it was Carrie talking, but
Carrie.
You can go ahead, Tracy. It was nothing. I can ask it after. Go ahead.
I was just going to, I always want to have Marlene check the frequency that we're at.
Oh, okay.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
It's right around 1200. And so Tracy, maybe you and Sylvia are a little higher right now than Carrie, because she's new and we haven't gone through all the, the body ownership, clearings and so forth with Carrie. So that's probably why The average is 1,200. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's with Jessica too. So, but we're gonna work with that with Carrie too. So your own individuals are probably different. But yeah, the 1,200 is nothing to sneeze about. That's
No.
pretty good.
Yeah. And it'll just go up from there. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes. And at the end, we're going to do an activation again. And remind me, again, Tracy, this will be your job. Remind me at the end of the 4th day to do an activation to increase our frequencies more. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So tonight, if we have time to practice, which I'm intending to do that. So when we first start off, you suggested you start with like life force vitality. Is that the first thing you do overall to kind of bring yourself up?
Yeah.
And then we'll move into the timelines and DNA.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So check your life force. Where are you at? If it's not 100%, well, then check for attachments. Is there attachments? If so, clear them. Maybe it's your energy centers are off, chakras or whatever. You can go outside, just ground yourself, bare
Yep.
feet, or even just do that. Imagine that you're standing barefoot on the earth and getting the electrons coming up through the receptor sites in your feet and just coming up and cleaning and clearing everything out. You can do that, and that always works. Okay, so yeah, so clearing the attachments, clearing yourself, all the energy centers, and then checking your life force again. And if it's like 95%, then just do this until you get to 100. Okay, so now you're perfectly tuned, or the person, your client or whoever is perfectly tuned to now go on and do clearings and other things. Now let's see what issues are bothering you. Then you can chart that out. But for your assignment, it would be more like, get your life force up to 100%. That would be great. And then checking with, connecting with your higher self. So if it says connect with the divine, really, so connect with your higher self to be your partner, your team member. I'm going to show you a picture here of, this is a picture someone painted of me. That's my higher self. And she said she saw it. She goes, "No, I see it. I saw it. That's what I painted." So that's my higher self. So connect with them. And
I lost Carrie. I think she
Yeah.
dropped out. Yeah.
Yep, I saw that. And Jessica had a phone call, so she jumped off. But we're about complete here anyway, and I'll send everyone the recording later too. But and then so be looking for a new link for tomorrow to come up. I'll send you another email. And the charts for tomorrow. So, yeah, Sylvia, do you have any comments or questions? I know it's late there for you.
Will we get the PowerPoint?
Oh, do you want
your
the PowerPoint?
PowerPoint
Sure.
presentation?
Yeah,
Because it's a little bit easier to
Okay.
to work with.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it's a good for a visual. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Certainly.
Thank you, yes.
Yeah.
And what about do we own the DNA? I don't know if I have missed that, because we don't own the body sometimes fully.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So do we fully own the DNA?
Yeah, and that's the thing of it too, is yes, you own it. It is yours. It's you. Yeah. Yep, you own it.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So
But
yeah.
is it possible to not to own it?
Yes, and that's why we're part of this clearing to enjoy God DNA. That's that one. And then so related programming interference related to faulty DNA. I'm looking to see if the other clearing was around that.
Sylvia, are you
Owning, yes,
talking?
ability to own and be the only energy able to alter any of my own DNA programs. Yeah, so really that's what the
Okay.
I think that clearing is about, to own our DNA. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you're right, because it's nobody knew that they had, I mean, they know about DNA, but they don't know a whole lot about it. They don't know they own it. They don't know that they can alter it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that was held back from us. But
Mm-hmm.
we are owners of our own DNA. Yes. Yeah. Great question, Sylvia. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, there's that. I was wondering if that question was coming out of the notion that, like in Eastern cultures, they talk about like that you're not the same thing as the body. You know, this, your true essence is not the body, right?
Oh, sure.
Is that
Yeah.
what you mean, Sylvia? Like, so if the body is sort of impermanent, it comes and goes, but I don't, maybe you don't mean it that way. Like that we don't own the body that way, just like we don't own the earth, or, you know, like, but we're just here inhabiting it as souls, you know, but as long as we're here, we're the ones in,
Mm-hmm.
we want to have the rights to the mechanisms, to the
Mhm.
house. We want to have the keys to the house, right? Like,
Yeah. You own that house. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. In a sense, I get that too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. But we want to be the ones that alter the DNA, the only one, you know, so ownership. Yeah. Not letting anybody else to get the keys to our DNA and start messing stuff around and reprogramming us. Yeah. So that's what that that first clearing is about. Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, my
Mhm.
pleasure. I think this is going to be huge for you guys, because not, like I said again, I don't believe a lot of people are doing this, and if they're not doing it, then they're missing out of what is required, you know, to be cleared. And how are they doing clearings with just saying, you know, energy healing or whatever? You can't just move the energy around and say, you know, you're cleared. Okay, well, we didn't really go into all the different things that you could possibly be finding problems. You didn't go through that in just, you know, 10 seconds and say, oh, I'm all boom like that. It didn't, you can't. I mean, you got to give it a little thought. You got to have the, what comes to you, you know, sure, yeah, intuitive hits. And then getting to the root cause of the problem, asking the body where to start. And then the body may say, hey, okay, great, you cleared that. But now you didn't go work in the emotions yet, did you? You know, go to the emotions now. Oh, okay. So really they could say, oh yeah, boom, cleared. Well, they cleared that thing, but maybe not all things related to the root cause of that issue that you have, right? So this is the more comprehensive, the going in, doing your research, and completely finding everything that we could possibly discover about that issue and clearing that away for them. You know, could there be something we don't know about? Oh yeah. So that's the other thing, is adding in there this, or, you know, unknown or unknown, known or unknown, and adding that into your clearings too. So
Yeah.
any non-beneficial whatever, right? Known or unknown.
Because everybody, you know, I mean, clearing work is such a popular thing in recent years, and I've done some other work with it, which I liked, but it's like, oh, just, I mean, there's so many things then. It's just endless. Like you won't live long enough to clear everything, you know?
Yeah.
But that's why I keep talking about, this feels like you can get a big, you know, even if it's not everything, you're getting, or intending to get everything, you're getting a lot that's coming out, and you can feel it, and it just feels like it's a softer, user-friendly thing. Like I feel like it's some other things I've done with people where I'm sort of using language with them. I find, and clearing individual experiences, triggers, emotions, entities, whatever it would be, you could only do so much at one time. And I would find that people were getting like emotionally like distraught, but like they can get over processed in a way that way. But this, I don't, you know, I was saying this to you before, I'm just not experiencing that way. People aren't getting triggered by their emotions or their issues or their traumas. And it's more objective, it seems, and easier to kind of clear things
Mhm.
really from the field. I don't know if you felt that way, Sylvia, or you, Marlene, but I really like it for that.
Yeah, and it is not non-objective. I mean, it's like, real just observing, just being non-involved, with whatever it is. That came up, it's on the chart, boom, clear it. Okay, on the chart, yep, came up, boom, clear it. So just not being involved with, oh my God, this is terrible, or anything like that. We don't go into the emotional piece of it. It's just easily identifiable. Identify it. Great. Now it's on the chart. Whatever happened. That's interesting. Okay, fine, but clear it,
Yeah.
And so when you don't become emotionally involved, especially with the dark energies and stuff like that, they don't have no power, none.
Yeah.
There's no power there when you're not emotional.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much. It's great. So nice to see Sylvia.
Yeah, nice to see you again. Beautiful shining faces. All right, so I won't take up any more of your time. I know it's getting late on the East Coast and especially in Switzerland. So
Yeah,
Super East.
I'm not used to be up so late.
oh, a night person. Yeah. All right. Well, get some rest, and I'll send out the other the link for tomorrow morning along with the charts and stuff then. And yeah, so do whatever clearance you can. Otherwise, just get some rest and let things kind of percolate in your mind overnight. I'm not expecting anything to be done by tomorrow at all. So whatever you can do is great. All right.
Thanks,
Okay.
Marlene.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Nice seeing you guys.
Bye-bye.
My pleasure. Mhm. Bye-bye.
Bye.